Hello and welcome back everyone. This is Shukan Wadhawana, and today we are going to talk about how I scored 187 out of 300 for my FMGE exams. It was so we are going to discuss the journey about it and how I came to be, and like what are the things that I had to go through, what were the things which I had to plan out quite early, and there are the future follow-up videos which will be done so as like the other people who want to do that, they can also mimic the same things and can probably get the better results or even or even the same results as mine. We're just mentioning all the 3 steps that I have done, and these 3 steps will actually be sufficient for you to actually to score great marks. By saying that, what I want to say is like the very first step out of this in this video which I've made for that is getting the revision done. The revision is the most important point that I have to emphasize upon so much. The reason being because the more amount of revisions that you do, the more amount of knowledge that you have got, it gets more and more consolidated. By saying that the second step cannot be skipped. If it is skipped, like the first step is in itself useless. Yeah, the second step that I want to go towards is you practicing MCQs, because the amount of MCQs that you practice, it will actually enlighten you towards, if I can use the word, enlighten you towards what are the mistakes that you're commonly doing, and these will also in turn help you in forming the analysis at the end of the day. So the amount, supposedly for me, I'll just bring it out very straightforward. It's like for me, when I used to write down my MCQ test, what used to happen was when I write it down, I could see the mistakes that I would do. Usually when you're writing in the beginning, most of the times the same mistakes are the one which I actually put into the fronts. So supposedly if you're reading a question like all these of the following are except, that you have to pay, and the last line is where the crux is at times, because if you do not listen to that, many of the times you end up marking the statements or the answers which are entirely wrong, even though you have read the topic. So you do not fall into that kind of a trap. I'll be highly suggesting you to give multiple MCQs. Even like in a day, I would suggest you to practice more than 50 to 70 MCQs if you are in the beginner stage, and like afterwards you keep on going. Like this is your first attempt, and that's what I'm trying to say. But if you're already read your subjects well and thorough with it, then you can keep on giving more and more grand tests and seeing and evaluating at the end of the day where are you losing your marks, which are your loose subjects, which are your weaker subjects, as well as which are your great scoring subjects. Like for example, PSM is a highly scoring subject. For the exams that we wrote down in December, and 12th of December, PSM I actually prepared it very nice, but if I could see the questions that were given in them, like they were not actually very much easy, if I can say that, because a lot of questions were like, I felt like they were out of the syllabus, if I can use the same word. They were not actually as what I had expected. So but somehow or the other, like I did well. That's what, by God's grace and like people's guidance. So, and that is the point that I also want to emphasize is like if you have been repeating these exams again and again, I would highly suggest you to find a mentor and like to keep on telling him and asking for the guidance time and time again, like how can I actually shift from getting this marks to this mark. Supposedly you have been in your GTs, you have been scoring around 125 to 135, so how you can actually increase those marks in moving forward in like successive GTs, which is very very important in building up your confidence. By saying that, I would just like to give an example of myself. When I used to when I was preparing for my December 2021 exams, I actually passed in none of these exams. In my GTs, I could not pass in any of them. I was all the time scoring somewhere from 110 to 145. Never once did I pass the exams, only until one exams which I gave was the grand test, which was given by the MIST. So in this MIST exams only I could pass scoring about 162. So apart from that, none of the exams I had passed, and that was the last exam that I wrote, because I never wanted my confidence to get shattered because of writing all these green GTs after that. These are the tips that you can follow up when you're just about to apply for your FMG exams. For those people who will be writing in the June, you should be aware of that. The third point that I would like to say is reviewing the MCQs and all, because a lot of time what happens is many of the times we just know the answers but we do not follow up, and when you're highlighting and when you're already reading about all these MCQs, the 4 of the points, what happens is as what my senior used to tell me, and I'm telling you so you can understand it way better. Supposedly you've been solving at the end of the day, like all these from counting from now onwards until your FMG exams, 5,000 MCQs, and but you have been reviewing genuinely, sincerely all those 5,000 MCQs. Then what will happen is like you will be actually having knowledge of 20,000 MCQs. Reason being is because those 20,000 MCQs will giving if you review them right, so you'll understand why the answer is not that and how it can be framed in such a way, and what are the peculiarities in those questions which are asked on that specific topic, right? So if you're supposedly reading about Riedl's thyroiditis, so if you're reading about that, you understand like it is a fibrosis which happens. So when you're reading about Hashimoto's thyroiditis, so all these will be in the questions: Hashimoto's thyroiditis, Graves' disease, Riedl's thyroiditis, and all these things. So once you have to understand what is the pathology has been given, how you can evaluate your answer, how you can actually eliminate the answer from all those and find your correct answer. So that is very important. So these are the 3 steps which have helped me, and I would actually like to thank the Bhatia Egurukul app, because I have been using the advanced platform. And giving a disclaimer that they have not paid me to do this, but I am actually genuinely indebted to them for providing me from such a material which I have to revise multiple times. Yeah, but so even if you have reading all the steps that I am saying, do not live this one step. I'm not saying this would be enough, but do not live this one step. If you have already started from the 6th year onwards, if you're watching it from Russia, if you're watching it from Philippines, I don't know how the system works over there. So if you're watching it from Russia, so I'll just take it as an example because that's where I have been graduated from. So if you have been doing that, in your 6th year you complete your material, and the 6th year onward you start your reading. As well as that, you also start doing your revisions. I would suggest you to go for revisions of 1 or 2 revisions, or even 3 revisions if and all. So I would suggest you to go for these kind of revisions, if 2 revisions, 3 revisions maximum. But if you can not complete all the topics, not all the subjects, then it's all right, because I did not complete all the subjects either. I just completed 13 to 14 subjects, but I genuinely read them with the thorough knowledge. Even though while I was doing my second reading I could not actually complete each and every subjects completely, but the 30 to 40% I could complete it. But some of the subjects 50%, 60%, these 14 subjects I did it. I left medicine, I left anesthesiology, I left ENT, I left forensic medicine. These are all the subjects that I left. Yeah, but I would not suggest any of you to leave all those subjects, because these are highly weighted subjects. So, but I did not have my time. I prepared the notes by myself. All the notes were completely handwritten, because that's what my senior told me. Neither would I actually suggest you to keep on, if you have actually shortage of time, if you're going to write the exams in the next 6 months and you have a shortage of time and you have not read anything, so I would suggest you to actually go and buy the books and rather read from them and go for revisions multiple. It's much more easier when you have written your own notes. You can actually scribble them, you can actually write some things on them, rather than having the notes which have been completely printed. But since you are on shortage of time, for all those people they can do that. But unlike and everything, I've already wrapped up all the 3 points which I particularly feel are very much necessary for you to passing the exams, and I suggest you, if you follow these 3 steps, it will be sufficient enough for you to actually score good marks.